Hey everybody, welcome back to World of Warcraft Shadowlands. I am recording this and trying to get up pretty early, even though this is, you could say, far ahead of what I have recorded and have not uploaded to the channel yet. But I felt like I needed to get this up because this is one of those videos I think actually can be able to help out when it comes to information about how it seems this new type of system works, which I'm in favor of. I'll take a moment to explain why. So, I'm recording this after I have, on my main Death Knight character that you are going to be seeing me do the main playthrough of the story of, I have finished the story in terms of, after going all through all four zones, did the finale of Revendreth, which then sent me back here to Orboz, and then there's a cutscene that plays that then prompts you to then choose your covenant. And I chose the covenant on that character, and I have been doing the initial stuff where it's like, okay, this is how this covenant system works, this is how this works, this is how you upgrade, and you know, then it introduces you to Torghast, introduces you to a certain character you meet in Torghast. So that stuff I have now done up to this point. So then I tested what I had heard about a year ago, that they were saying how they were going to implement the way they wanted people to try and enjoy playing this with alts. Because they understood if you were going to have to go through the entire thing with alts, it was going to be kind of, oh my gosh, you know, that kind of feeling. So what they said was, when you go through it the first time, you know, you do it as normal in the way it's intended, which is the zones of Bastion, then Maldraxxus, then Ardenweald, and then Revendreth. And then you know, after you've gone through, you've met the characters, you've experienced the story, you then have more information, and you're more familiar with each covenant to then choose which covenant you want. So they knew people wouldn't want to do this on alts, so they've added a system in here to be able to let people play differently how they want on alts, because they also want to make this a very alt-friendly expansion in some regards. So, I will say this, right now there does not seem to be a skip in place for the initial intro portion, which is we are called upon by Darien to go to Icecrown, where we meet Bolvar, we use the helm to go into the Maw, and then we escape the Maw from the jailer, and then end up here in Orboz. Right now, there does not seem to be any skip in place for that. So it looks like for now, if you're going to do this, with alts right now, you are going to have to go through that whole intro sequence. However, once you finish that, the moment you end up in Orboz, time is frozen where you first show up. And then this person right here, Fate Scribe Rotal, the Vision of the Arbiter, he then just kind of, comes up to you and is like, "Hello there. I'd like to talk to you about something." Keep in mind, time is still frozen in that regard. Every NPC is frozen in place. You're frozen in place. He's the only one who's moving. And what happens, he then says, "Welcome, mortal. May you find your way," and he then brings up this thing called the Threads of Fate. Fate and time are intertwined. Their ways can be bent, reshaped, if the purpose wills it. The touch of a great power is upon your soul, mortal. Through its influence, I can change your fate and offer a path forward. Should you choose to walk it, the denizens of the Shadowlands will look upon you as they do the others who have already journeyed through their realms. Each of the covenants will welcome you, eager for you to join their ranks. Whichever you choose, you must help them grow strong. But if you take this road, there is no going back. The decision is yours. So then you say, "I'm ready to choose my fate." So then you're given these two choices right here. You can either replay the storyline as normal, the way you did on your first character, level up by playing through the main Shadowlands storyline just as you did on your first character. You will move zone by zone through the narrative arc before reaching level 60 and selecting a covenant. If you change your mind, you can return to the Fate Scribe at any time and choose to follow the Threads of Fate. Or you get the Threads of Fate. Level up by doing world quests, side quests, bonus objectives, and dungeons. Main storyline quests will be skipped, and you will choose your covenant immediately. You will have access to all Shadowlands zones except the Maw. This choice is final and cannot be undone. So this is the system in place for how you want to do other characters, or alts as we call them. I love that this is not just immediately you skip everything. If you, for whatever reason, wanted to replay through the storyline as normal, you can do that. You know, it's still a choice for you. But if you do want to just go ahead and, even at level 50, just skip all that and go straight to immediately choosing a Covenant and then start working on the Covenant stuff on your Sanctum and the Covenant storyline, and just kind of level from 50 to 60, as it says, by doing side quests, world quests, dungeons, whatever. You can do that, you know, and be able to get right to work on some of the other stuff with those systems, while also working your way towards unlocking some of the other stuff. I love this system that they have in place here. But I just want to point out that this was something that I believe only worked once you got the achievements for finishing the storylines in all 4 zones and getting the achievement for choosing your Covenant. And I think that was the account-wide unlock to have this system then be an option here. So, right now, let me also let you know, if you for some reason show up here and either you have a disconnect or you log out, it keeps you right here, and then you have the try to communicate initial quest right here. And I was like, oh no, did I lose my opportunity to choose that? But then I noticed this little icon right here. So if you for some reason get disconnected the moment you show up in Orbos and you wanted to choose Threads of Fate, but you didn't get to because there was some kind of random disconnect, don't worry. Just log back in, look for this little icon right here where the Fate Scribe is, go to him over here, and then you can be able to make the choice. So, I'm going to show you how that works here. So you say that, you choose, and goes, by choosing the Threads of Fate, you will not be able to play through the normal Shadowlands storyline. This cannot be undone. Are you sure you want to choose the Threads of Fate? So then you have to type in the word Fate into the field to confirm this. Accept. And then, there we go. Everything here now shifts to, yeah, after you've done the storyline. You can even see here, Threads of Fate, aiding the Shadowlands, and then the other things involving, continue the campaign by accepting the quest, bolstering Bastion.
The purpose.
So, you get the quest here, reintroductions. Though you have chosen your path, the fate of the Shadowlands has yet to be determined. The power of the Banished One grows. It falls to you and others of your kind to thwart him. The Arbiter's honored voice, Talinara, will aid you in choosing a covenant. Bolstering their strength offers our best chance at victory. Let the purpose guide you. So, then you can just go straight over here to where Talinara is, and then immediately get the quest to choose which covenant you want, right at level 50. Now, this character is on the verge of 51, because I will say the initial intro portion for Shadowlands does give a decent amount of XP, but I still think Blizzard does need to start implementing the skip option for it, because it does take a little while. And after doing it multiple times, you're probably going to get a little tired of it. Which is why they added it in Legion and BFA, for you to just skip it and go straight to the main hub and get right to work on that expansion's content. So, then you go straight to Talinara.
Come forth and be judged.
And she gives you the little dialogue here about having to choose a covenant. So then, you then get the quest to speak to each of the 4 covenant representatives. So you'll go to the main representative here. You say, tell me about, your covenant, this top one here, which then lets you see what your, the set that you can be able to get for this armor type. Not necessarily your class, but your armor type. This is kind of important. As far as I know, there are no class sets like there were in Legion. It's basically still as it was in BFA, where you get a set for based on what your armor type is and what the covenant you choose. You will get to see, this is the bottom one here will always be the signature ability for the covenant. However, this top one here will be different based on what your class is. So this is where you can be able to kind of get an idea and check as to what the ability is. Kind of interesting in that regard for, this is my warlock in case you can't tell, so I actually am not entirely sure what I want. Not really impressed by that set for cloth for a warlock, maybe on a priest, but I don't know. So you can be able to actually test the abilities. You can reset the cooldown of the abilities, and you can be able to use it like they'll each have like a little combat dummy here for you to test the abilities on, for you to see which one you like, if perhaps you haven't seen them or tested how they are for each of the different classes and alts that you have. And you can ask, what is the Covenant campaign going to be about? And they'll give you a little bit of a brief, detail in regards to that. Which will be a follow-up to what was going on over there. So nice. We'll go over here. Night Fae. I have heard some people say that this is really good for warlocks, at least Affliction.
Never a dog.
I have mainly played Demo and Destro on my Warlock, but people have been saying that Affliction is really good in this expansion. Plus, I've always loved the talent that makes it where Corruption is a permanent dot. I love that.
The master must
the Venthyr. I love that cloth set right there. That looks amazing. Oh. Impending catastrophe, a cloud of chaotic anima that travels to the target enemy. When it implodes, it inflicts either Curse of Weakness or Curse of Tongues and deals shadow damage over 12 seconds to all nearby enemies. That sounds amazing. I really like that ability and that set.
We must give those who
But let's real quick, of course, also look at the Necrolords.
Stand strong.
Another really cool looking set. I really like that one as well. Decimating Bolt. Hurls bolts of decimating magic at your target, dealing shadow damage and increasing the damage of your next drained soul by 100%. I think it's only saying drained soul because that's what I currently have. I just prefer just draining as opposed to the channeling of Shadow Bolt, but, we're all different. Sometimes I go back to Shadow Bolt, sometimes I go back to drained soul. I kind of just bounce back and forth sometimes. The damage and the bonus to Drain Soul both increase as your target's health decreases. So, this is why I can understand why some people got very like, oh, when it came to choosing, because right now, here in my Warlock, I know some people say Night Fae is the best, but honestly, right now, I'd be leaning towards either Venthyr or Necrolords. But hey, that's also why sometimes if you want to be able to mess around with multiple, you may have multiple of the same class. So, that's just a little bit of info I just wanted to show you guys about how this system is in place for alts. So, once you finish the main story up to finishing Revendreth and then come back here and are told to choose your Covenant, I believe that is when you will then be able to get the unlock on your account to be able to have your alts when they finish the intro portion to immediately then get the choice to do the Threads of Fate and immediately choose your Covenant. So, just want to get this info out early on, just so people know, because I'm pretty sure some people still don't know how exactly it works. That seems to be, based on my own personal experience so far, how it actually is going to work. I really like it. So, hope that helps. In case you had any concerns or questions about how this was going to work, or if you were worried about having to do everything on your alts, like some of us were kind of having to do with some of our alts in BFA. It was a little better, in my opinion, in Legion because of the class order hall stuff, so it felt fresh and different. This also I actually really like as well. So I hope that helps in your decision making and how you plan on playing multiple characters in this. If you have only one character, obviously you don't really need to worry about that. But if you actually do have multiple characters and you're planning on checking out each of the different covenants to get the different rewards, that seems to be how it's going to be working. So, I'll see you guys next time.